Have you ever heard a story so big, so incredible, it sounds like something out of a movie? Well, get ready, because today we're diving into one of the greatest adventures ever told. It's a story about a man, a massive boat, and a whole lot of animals. Long, long ago, the world was a very different place. It was beautiful, but people weren't being very kind to each other or to the world. They had forgotten how to be good and gentle. But in the middle of all this, there was one man who stood out. His name was Noah. Noah was a good man, a really good man. He always tried to do the right thing, and he walked with God. He had a lovely wife and 3 sons named Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who also had their own families. One day, God spoke to Noah. God was sad because the world had become so full of unkindness. God told Noah, "I'm going to wash the world clean with a great, big flood. It will rain so much that water will cover everything. But I want to save you and your family, Noah, because you are a righteous man. And I want to save the animals, too." Then, God gave Noah a very special, very big project. "I want you to build an ark," God said. An ark is like a giant boat. But this wasn't just any boat. God gave Noah the exact blueprints. He told him to build it from gopher wood and to cover it inside and out with pitch, which is like a natural tar, to make it waterproof. Can you imagine how huge this ark was? It was supposed to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. To give you an idea, that's about 1.5 football fields long and as tall as a 4-story building. It was massive. It had 3 decks, a big door on the side, and a window or a roof opening all along the top to let in light and air. So, Noah, his wife, and his sons got to work. Imagine the scene! Day after day, they sawed wood, hammered nails, and spread sticky pitch. Their neighbors probably watched them, scratching their heads. "Noah, what are you building?" They'd ask. "There's no ocean here." Noah would explain, "God has told me a great rain is coming, a flood that will cover the whole earth." But people just laughed. They didn't believe him. They thought he was being silly. But Noah didn't let their laughter stop him. He trusted God and kept on building. For years and years, they worked, following God's instructions perfectly. While they were building, God gave Noah another important job. He said, "I want you to bring animals into the ark with you. Not just 1 or 2, but 2 of every kind of living creature, a male and a female. And for some animals, the clean ones, he was to bring 7 pairs. Can you picture it? A long, long line of animals all heading for the ark. Lions and tigers walking side by side. Tall giraffes ducking their heads to get through the door. Little mice scurrying along. Colorful parrots flying in. Elephants with their big, flapping ears. Kangaroos hopping. Penguins waddling. Every kind of animal you can think of, from the biggest to the smallest, was there. It must have been the most amazing parade the world has ever seen. They weren't fighting. They were all peacefully making their way onto the giant boat to buy 2. Noah and his family also had to gather food, a lot of food. Enough for his family and for every single animal on the ark for a very long time. They filled the storage rooms with grains, fruits, nuts, and hay. The ark was now a floating zoo and a giant pantry. Finally, after all the years of hard work, the ark was finished. The animals were all safely inside, and all the food was stored. Then God said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family." So Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives all walked up the ramp and into the ark. And after they were all safely inside, the Bible tells us something amazing. God himself shut the door. They were sealed in, safe and sound. For 7 days, they waited inside the ark. Outside, everything seemed normal. The sun was shining. But then, it happened. A single drop of rain. Then another. And another. Soon, it wasn't just raining. It was pouring. The floodgates of the heavens opened up, and water gushed from the ground. It rained and rained for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. The water rose higher and higher. It covered the fields, then the houses, then the tallest trees, and eventually, even the highest mountains were completely submerged. Everything on the land was covered by the great flood. But inside the ark, Noah, his family, and all the animals were safe. The ark was lifted up by the water and floated on the surface of the vast, endless ocean. Imagine what it must have been like inside. The sounds of the rain pounding on the roof, the creaking of the wood, and the gentle rocking of the waves. And, of course, the sounds of all those animals. The lions roaring, the monkeys chattering, the birds chirping. Noah and his family were very busy, feeding the animals, cleaning their spaces, and taking care of everyone on board. They were a small team with a huge responsibility. For 150 days, the water covered the earth. But God did not forget Noah. He sent a wind to blow over the waters, and slowly, very slowly, the water began to go down. The ark drifted for months, and finally, one day, with a gentle bump, it came to rest on the top of the mountains of Ararat. They were on solid ground. But they couldn't get out just yet. The world was still covered in water. Noah was patient. After a while, he opened the window and sent out a raven. The raven flew back and forth, but couldn't find a place to land. A little later, Noah sent out a dove. The dove flew around and came back, too, because there was still too much water. Noah waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. This time, the dove came back in the evening, and in its beak was a freshly picked olive leaf. This was a wonderful sign. It meant that the waters had gone down enough for trees to start growing again. There was new life on the earth. Noah's heart must have been filled with hope. He waited another 7 days and sent the dove out one last time. This time, the dove didn't come back. It had found a new home. The world was ready. Then God spoke to Noah again. "Come out of the ark," he said, "you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number." The big door was opened, and out they came. First Noah and his family, stepping onto dry land for the first time in over a year. Then came the animals, a stampede of joy. The elephants trumpeted, the horses galloped, the birds soared into the bright blue sky. They were all free to start a new life in a fresh, clean world. The first thing Noah did was build an altar to thank God. He was so grateful for their safety, for God's promise, and for this new beginning. God was pleased with Noah's thankfulness and made a beautiful promise, a covenant, with Noah and with all of humanity and every living creature. God said, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." And to seal this promise, God put a magnificent sign in the sky. He said, "I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my promise." So now, Whenever you see a beautiful, colorful rainbow stretching across the sky after it rains, you can remember this incredible story. It's a reminder of God's promise of new beginnings and of the hope that comes after the storm. It's a story of faith, patience, and a grand adventure that restarted the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this amazing journey today. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. We'll see you next time.